pastor of Westminster Presbyterian Church in Richmond and disability theologian. She's currently pursuing her PhD in theology from, how do you say it, Nates, an Indigenous learning community. Her paper is titled Rabbit's Song, a Cherokee Call to Inclusivity in Leadership.
Hi, my name is Victory, and I am Cherokee. Most people don't know me as the Reverend Ann again. I am an ordained PCUSA minister and disability theologian. And I'm currently focusing my research on pre-colonial ways in which my tribe included people with what the DSM identifies as mental health challenges in the leadership of the tribe as a potential model for the modern church. My research draws heavily on traditional Cherokee storytelling, and you'll be seeing some of that in just a minute. But to prepare you for this, I need to clarify that when the Cherokee use the word traditional, we're using it a little differently than most Westerners are using it. When we talk about telling a tale, dayakta, or the straight or right or true way, we're not talking about replicating word for word what's been told by other storytellers throughout several thousand years of Cherokee history, but rather about accurately conveying the core truths that an Etlana creator gave us when those tales were delivered to us. So if you listen to this same story as told by a speaker from the Cherokee Nation, or a Gayagogi, a storyteller from the Eastern Band Cherokee, or a Texas Cherokee, or the Wolf Creek Cherokee, who are in Virginia where I'm currently living, you're going to hear slight variations in the way it's told. The other thing you need to be aware of in regard to Indigenous storytelling is that while our tales involve a lot of animal characters, they aren't interpreted the same way that animal stories are often interpreted in Western society. They aren't allegorical. The different animals and their actions aren't representative of something in the human world, and they aren't simply moralistic, where there's one point to be discerned in the storyline. Instead, they're told a bit more like Jesus' parables. In fact, Cherokee storyteller Hastings Shea, when asked about whether the explanation for each story should be given along with the story, replied, "Let it ride." And so that's part of what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell you a classic tale, Rabbit's Song, and I'm going to pair it with a little scripture which is going to guide you just a little bit towards the interpretation of the story. But my guess is that the only actual use that that scripture is going to have to your understanding is going to be to demonstrate that the stories that Creator traditionally gave to us actually parallel stories given to us in the written words of Scripture, and that the canon can't be closed and isolated. I'll borrow from a previous speaker there. Can I move over just a little? Yeah. Okay. I'm echoing too much. Okay, very good. So the Council of Animals used to meet on a regular basis to address their business. But they ran into a problem, and that problem was chistu, or rabbit. You see, Rabbit was pretty excited about rabbits most of the time. As soon as Rabbit got a hold of the floor, he would hold it and hold it and hold it as he expounded upon how wonderful rabbits were and all that they had to contribute to the overall well-being of the animal world. He would talk about the beauty of the rabbit's great long ears that Unetlana had given him so that he could hear all of the things around him that the other animals were not capable of hearing. He would talk about the glories of giant rabbit feet that contributed to the sound of the drum on the stomp grounds as they worshipped Unetlana. And he would talk about the cute fuzzy bunny tail that he had that just made people smile. Rabbit would go on and on and on until the other members of the council began to doze off and begin daydreaming. And the business of the council was not getting accomplished. Several of the animals went to Awahali the eagle and they said to him, "We have a problem. Winter is coming and we need to make preparations. We need to plan, but we can't as long as Rabbit continues to attend council and tell us how wonderful rabbits are. Can you please talk to Rabbit? Get him to be a little quieter, to share the floor a little more frequently. Holly scratched his head and says, the problem is I've already talked to Rabbit. And all Rabbit does is talk about rabbits. Every time I try to start a conversation, I hear again about how great his big ears are and how they hear all of the things that the rest of us can't hear. And how his beautiful great big feet contribute to the drum at the stomp grounds. And how his cute little fluffy bunny tail makes everybody smile. The animals thought about this for a few moments and finally decided that the only way to deal with the problem of Rabbit was going to be to actually exclude Rabbit from the council. So Dalla the bullfrog was assigned to vet people as they entered the council house the next time, making sure all the other animals got to come in, but that Rabbit was excluded. When Rabbit arrived and found out he wouldn't be allowed into the council house, he was rightly disturbed, but it was a beautiful day outside, and so Rabbit decided to make the best of it. Standing outside of the council house, he took his rattle and he began to shake it. And as he shook it, he danced around, hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. And all of the animals in the council house pretty soon were bobbing along, singing with him, hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. Eagle said, this won't work, so he sent Dalla the bullfrog out one more time and said, please take care of Rabbit. So Dalla hopped to the door and out into the sunshine, and he said to Rabbit, you're still disturbing people, so we've got to take care of the problem here. I will give this back as soon as the meeting is over. And he grabbed Rabbit's rattle and he hopped with it back into the council house. Little Rabbit looked around and he didn't have a rattle, but it was still a beautiful day and he still felt this joy in his heart. And he did have two paws. So he began to bounce up and down again, and as he hopped, hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. The other animals in the council house, a moment later, they were bouncing up and down too. Hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. This wasn't going to work, and so Eagle asked Ladachi, the panther, would you please go take care of Rabbit? So he moved sleekly towards the door and out into the sunlight, and he said to Rabbit, you're still making too much noise. I'm going to borrow this until the council meeting is over, and then you may have it back. And he grabbed Rabbit's arm and he popped it off. And he made his way back into the council house. Now Rabbit, partially disarmed, is a little depressed, and he's looking around, but then he thinks, I'm creative. Chief Stew in Cherokee tradition has a reputation for being a bit of a creative trickster, and so as he looks around with his one paw, he realizes he has a built-in drum. Hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. And it's loud enough that again, all of the animals in the council house are dancing with him. So Eagle says to Yona the bear, I need you to go out and I need you to take care of the rabbit problem. So Bear lumbers out into the sunshine and he says to Rabbit, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we're running out of options and we need to get the business done. And he pops Rabbit's other arm off and lumbers back into the meeting house. Now Rabbit has a problem. Rabbit, of course, doesn't know what to do. And he thinks, and he thinks. Hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. Stomping his big feet, he makes as much of a ruckus as he did with hands and a rattle. And inside Holly the eagle shakes his head. Why, Wolf, go out and take care of the problem. So Wolf prances to the door and out into the sunshine, and he says to Rabbit, just until the meeting is over, I'm going to borrow these. And he pops both of Rabbit's legs off. Well, now Rabbit really is in a bit of a bind because he's really just a fluffy little bunny body laying there with a head attached. And he's listening and he can hear the Amichisqua, the bird people singing in the trees. And he thinks, well, I still have a voice. Hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. By this point, Holly the eagle is totally fed up. And so he says, if you want anything done right, you really have to do it yourself. And he strolls down the aisle between the animals and out into the sunshine, and he says to Rabbit, when this is over, I will give you your head back. And he pops Rabbit's head off and carries it into the council house with him. As they're getting ready to resume business, they can all hear the sound. Hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. And Eagle looks down at Rabbit's head nestled in his wing. And Rabbit's just there sleeping. Nothing's going on. But now all the animals are puzzled, and so Eagle leads them back out to where Rabbit's fluffy little bunny body is still lying there. As they approach it, they hear the sound, hey-ho, 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 hey-ho. We made a mistake, Eagle declares. Rabbit's song is coming from his heart. This is a song that's a gift from Annette Lanah, from Creator, and it is meant for all of us to learn. And so he strokes the animals, and they pop Rabbit's head back on, and his feet and his arms, and they give him back his rattle. And they ask Rabbit, please, teach us your song. And so Rabbit teaches them the song. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, the Apostle Paul says, now the body is not made up of one part, but of many. If the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I am not a part of the body, would that make the foot any less a part of the body? If the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I am not a part of the body, would that make the ear any less a part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, how could it hear? And if the whole body were an ear, how could it smell? But in his wisdom, the great Spirit has given each body part its own place, so it can fulfill the purpose it was created for and make Creator's heart glad. If all the parts of the body were the same, how could there be a body? Even though there is only one body, it was made to have many parts. So the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. Neither can the head say to the feet, I have no need of you. Thank you.